Welcome to video 3 of a 4-part video series concerning the National Water Model Learning Module found on Hyrolearn.org. My name is Easton Perkins. I am a student at Brigham Young University and a research assistant in the Hydroinformatics Research Lab. Today we'll be going over how to complete exercise number 3 in the National Water Model Notebook number 2 titled Mapping and Xarray. To access the learning module, open a browser and type in Hyrolearn.org. This will take you to Hyrolearn's main page, where you can then search the National Water Model. Click on the icon to enter the learning module. You should now see a page similar to this one. This video assumes that you have already worked through the introduction and now have a basic understanding for what the National Water Model is, have worked through section 1 and know the history and how the National Water Model has recently developed in the last few years, and also have started working through section 2, worked through the National Water Model forecasts, and have an understanding for what a short range, medium range, and long range forecast is, learning activity number 1, and have explored the National Water Model interactive map. This video will now go over exercise number 3 and notebook number 2 in the learning activity number 2. This main page will help you get set up. You should already have a Hydroshare account, which you created at the beginning of the learning module. If you haven't, go back to the beginning and do so now. Read through the rest of this page to get set up with Jupyter Hub notebooks. We'll click Open with Quasi Jupyter Hub. And you should arrive to a page similar to this one. If it doesn't look exactly the same, that's alright. As long as you see these links, you're in the right place. Today we're going to be clicking here on the National Water Model Notebook number 2. Alright, you should now be on a page similar to this one that says National Water Model Notebook number 2, Mapping and Xarray. We will scroll straight down here to the bottom to get to the exercises. This video will be concentrating on how to complete exercise number 3. Other videos have gone through how to complete exercise 1, 2, and 4. Exercise number 3 states, create an IPI leaflet map which displays all of the National Water Model reaches in the hydrologic unit code 2. The shapefile for the HUC2 is located in the same resource as the HUC1. Also change the zoom level and latitude and longitude coordinates for the center of the map so the reaches of the HUC2 are centered and zoomed in upon. You should be able to do this by editing the code for the IPI leaflet WMS map above, not the JavaScript map. It should wind up looking something like this. Alright, let's work through this exercise. First, we're going to gain a basic understanding for some vocab that we should know. IPI leaflet is just a mapping service that is going to be coded above. We'll run through that. HUC. Now let's come right up here where it explains. Right in this, above this little picture right here, explains that what a HUC is. So it says right here, next we'll need to create a map with IPI leaflet and add a WMS layer. WMS is a web map services. So it's just something on the internet that allows us to map and put layers of data onto these maps. Pretty awesome stuff. Alright, we'll skip down here. The shapefile HUC. So an HUC stands for Hydrologic Unit Code. So basically, and if you read through the rest of this, it'll explain it more extensively, but throughout the continental United States, there are, I believe, 8 large watersheds that cover the whole United States. And in these watersheds, we can divide them up into the hydrologic unit codes, which is pretty interesting. So now that we understand some vocab, we're going to go answer the question now. We're going to make this map right here and get it zoomed in. This exercise really isn't that hard. Just follow along. It won't be too bad. Okay. As we know, the code always starts from the top, so we're going to start at the top. We're going to run this first cell. We're just going to hit run. This is importing all the packages we need: Xarray, pandas, IPy widgets, all of the gadgets. All right, let's keep hitting run. This is our code. This should look familiar if you've already completed the previous exercises, as well as notebook number 1. This is getting our URL, if we want a short range, medium range, or long range, and just giving us the data from the National Water Model. So we're going to hit run there. Hit run. This is setting up our variables. And honestly, we're just going to hit run. If you want a more detailed overview of what these are doing, go back and we'll do exercise number 1 and 2 of this notebook, and watch the videos where I explain more deeper in-depth view of what each of these cells do. Okay, so we'll just keep hitting run, keep hitting run. We're going to hit plot, keep hitting run until we get to mapping. Now this is where exercise number 3 takes place. Alright, so first we should define some variables. So we're creating a map and we're telling how zoomed do we want it to be and how centered do we want it to be. Now we'll see later that we're going to play with this to be able to center our map the way we want it. So we'll just click run for now. This is a really good explanation. I highly recommend reading through this. It provides a great overview of what's going on. And if you read through this, it provides a really good detail. And a minor correction to what I said earlier. It says right here, the particular resource only contains a few HUCs. There are 18 in total. So there are 18 very large watersheds throughout the entire continental United States instead of 8, like I said earlier. So pretty interesting stuff. You can actually see a picture of it here. We are actually today looking to plot this watershed right here, the HUC number 2. So our goal is to get all that data onto our map. Okay, so it's pretty simple. The code has already been written for us. So I invite you to go through the code. If you ever want to manipulate it or change it however you'd like, go through it and read everything we need. Now this does provide an excellent explanation that right here, we'll hit run. And we're going to hit run right here. And this is going to plot, for now, the HUC1. So this little area up here. Because that's what it's coded to do right now. Now we want the HUC2. Now because, and it explains it up here in the text if you want to read further in depth on it, the HUC2 is in the same data file. All we have to do is come here and put a 2 there. And you can name it whatever you want. I think the most logical name would be HUC2. So we'll do that. And we'll hit run. Alright, and you can see right there that it just appeared below. And we can come over here and mess and toggle with what our layers we have. So let's turn off HUC1. And there we go. You can zoom in manually there. And we can see that we have the layer that we want. Alright, we're already halfway done with this learning activity. So now what we need to do is the exercise asks us to use the code to somewhat zoom in and have this centered. We can do it manually like this, but there's a way we can do it using the code. So we're going to scroll up, to our zoom and centering adjustments with the code. And I've already played around with this a little bit, so I found that 6 was a pretty good zoom. Maybe we can adjust it a little later to make it even better. But now we got to look at the latitude and longitude coordinates that we want for the center of this map right here. So I think the easiest way to do this is let's turn off all the layers And we can remember that it's about right here. So let's zoom way in. And I think about the center of the map. Now this is an estimate, but I think it's about Harrisburg. So we're just going to come up here to Google. And we are going to type in longitude and latitude of Harrison. See, did I type that in wrong? I probably did. Harrisburg, sorry. Excuse me. Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. There we go. And we have the longitude and latitude. So let's go put these in. So this is 40.27. It's pretty close. So we're going to come up here. And we're going to type in here 40.27. All right. And this is west, so it's going to be negative, right? So we got 76.8867. Let's remember the whole thing. 76.88. Ooh, it's early this morning. I can't remember. 67. There we go. All right, and we'll run it. Run that, run that, run that. And we got to turn it. Oh, it's already turned on. Sweet. There it is. Maybe we could put it a little bit more to the right, so it's this actual center. I mean, Harrisburg, I think somewhere right here. So that is the center, not accounting for the ocean, but that's pretty close. And it looks like our picture here. So I would say that is satisfactory. Of course, you can go and play a little bit more with the longitude and latitudes and play with the zoom. But for the purposes of this exercise, I think we've sufficiently shown that we know how to manipulate the code and change the HUC layering, the WMS layering. So that's it for this exercise. Hopefully that made sense. Feel free to keep playing around with this. Next, we'll be going over how to complete exercise number 4.